Deep Rock Galactic bills itself as a co-op FPS with space dwarves and destructible environments. Will you find your thirst for wanton destruction and beards quenched, or will you be left with a dry mouth, lost in a bewildering maze of caves with no hope of salvation or a beer? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. Deep Rock Galactic by Ghost Ship Games has been around for some time. I know quite a lot of people who have played it and loved it. I've got about 3.5 hours in this game. Since DRG is billed as a co-op FPS, and as you know, I have no friends, my only experience is with the solo gameplay mode. Now, fortunately for me, in solo mode, you have a trusty AI drone that will help you with your cave spelunking tasks. And in a somewhat bewildering, but I guess it's okay system shock, the very first playthrough immediately throws you into a tutorial mission without even so much as graphics selection. Well, I guess that's alright, so we'll give it a go. In Deep Rock Galactic, your mission is, well, to take on missions. These missions have you going into the caves of, somewhere and looking for stuff. In the case of the only mission types I played, that stuff is some minerals. There are also secondary mission objectives like killing fleas or gathering plants. Once all your stuff is gathered, put it in the cyber mule that follows you, hit the button, and race to get out of the cave. It seems simple enough on the surface. Get it? It's a mining joke. Surface? Ugh, fine, never mind. My bad jokes aside, in between missions, you have a base camp where you can do things like purchase upgrades for your character. Speaking of your character, there are 4 different character classes, each with a different set of weapons and skills. When playing with myself, playing solo, the support characters didn't seem like good choices, so I went with the scout character. The scout is equipped with a personal grappling hook, which does come in handy when trying to clear larger distances. He also gets an assault rifle, a close-quarters combat shotgun, and a flare gun that can shoot lighting flares that embed themselves into surfaces. All characters also have grenades. All characters are equipped with rechargeable personal flares, and managing darkness and visibility is a key gameplay element. All of the flares eventually go out, but you can only throw so many personal flares at a time, so it's important to keep track of where you're putting them and how many you have used. The Scout's flare gun is a gun, and so its ammunition is limited like any other weapon in the game. As you traverse the caves to mine and explore, you will encounter various creatures that don't really like you taking stuff from their caves. I encountered mostly various forms of spider in the early levels, but there were a few flying things too. Occasionally, waves of creatures will swarm and come for you, which makes for some gun-toting mayhem. The gunner's minigun is pretty cool, but wildly inaccurate, and he doesn't have the neat wall-attaching flare gun, so I decided not to use him after my first real mission. While searching the caves for your primary mission objectives, you can also encounter gold and various other minerals. Gold and these other minerals are used to purchase upgrades at the base station where you go between missions. Upgrades are available for all of your character's class equipment as well as their armor. There also appear to be some decorative upgrades you can equip as well. Failing a mission typically involves dying or not making it to the escape pod in time. You can also abort a mission at any time. You do earn some credit for what you manage to accomplish. There are various forms of missions, but I only made it far enough into the game to encounter the basic mining mission and the egg hunt mission, but I didn't actually do any of the latter. There are also a bunch of other different things you can do, but I didn't play long enough to unlock them, so I can't tell you about any of them. Why didn't I play long enough? Well, it all goes back to not having any friends and playing solo. Look, the drone is useful. The most useful part about it is that it can fly anywhere. The support classes have various line and platform skills, but they lack the key lighting tool, the flare gun, of the Scout. Without the flare gun, I really would have struggled to notice some of the mineral deposits that were up high. But with the Scout, you can't make platforms, so getting up to some of those high wall deposits would have been impossible. So that's the use of the drone. But when the drone mines, it doesn't collect. The minerals just drop and then sometimes randomly go bouncing on down to a deeper part of the cave, only to be lost. This is a critical issue. In at least one of the missions I attempted, there was barely any excess mineral that I found related to the primary mission objective. I spent quite a long time simply wandering around trying to look at walls and find what I was looking for. So I would have been extremely miffed if the drone had knocked off some chunk of something or other and it went bouncing off to some hidden area never to be seen again. Earlier, I mentioned how once you've collected all you need, you load it into the cyber cart and mash the done button. In the first couple of plays, this worked great because the mule runs away, leaves a path of lights behind it, and guides you to your escape pod. Unfortunately, the last 2 times I played, the mule ran straight vertically up a wall, and I couldn't follow it. And then I got lost in the labyrinth trying to get back to my escape pod, only to miss it by a few seconds each time. I seriously rage quit. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share with your friends. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. I complained about getting lost and the vertical climbing mule on the Rock Galactic Discord, and people were actually quite helpful and not troll-like. Yes, I know this game is about dwarves and not trolls. You know what trolls are, right? Never mind. Anyway, one person essentially made a comment that learning how to navigate the caves and use the terrain scanner was a skill and would take practice. And I think that's my primary gripe. I didn't find myself wanting to practice. The game was lonely. The drone isn't great company. Sure, there's plenty of action and blowing up bugs and shooting, but it really just didn't hook me as a single-player game. I could have searched for co-op players on Discord, but that would have taken time. And that's another thing. The missions didn't seem short, at least not in single-player. Staggering around in the dark trying to find crystals took me a solid hour in most cases. Was that a user error or just the average game time? And what about more complicated maps? On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, if you have friends, are willing to practice, and want to explore, this game does look like it has a lot to offer in terms of character customization, specialization, mission types, and more. There's a lot here to like, but it's hard to like it without others. So at best, it's meh, but I kind of wished I had played something else instead. I guess my only decision is that this game is not for me.